For all the women out there, are you curious how a plant-based diet can greatly improve your overall health and well-being? Stay tuned for this episode of SpirLift. Before we get started in this episode of SpirLift, if you enjoyed the content, please consider giving us a thumbs up. And if you want to be informed each and every time we upload new episodes on themes that we are passionate to share with you, such as spirituality, health and nutrition, motivational and inspirational videos, then please remember to subscribe to the channel and, very importantly, hit the notification bell down below, as this will directly inform you the moment each new episode is uploaded. Lastly, please consider commenting throughout this episode, as your feedback helps let us know how we can continue creating valuable content for you. Jacque and Marzia, what are some of the main benefits, just generally speaking, of a plant-based diet, and how hard it may be to transition if you're accustomed to a really different type of diet that's maybe really high in carbs, fat-based, and just overall not healthy? And we're speaking particularly to women for this episode of SpirLift. So let's just go into this right away. What are some of the main benefits of this kind of diet?
Some benefits of eating plant-based or predominantly plant-based diet would be, how about, would you like to increase your energy? Would you like to normalize your weight? Would you like to have some anti-aging benefits? Would you like to feel better? What else, Marzia?
I feel like women overcomplicate the word diet. And so they try to find this, miracle cure-all, like a supplement or a pill or this diet that's going to help get their weight off. And they don't realize it's not really about the diet, it's about the lifestyle. And then eating this way, eating predominantly plant-based or fully plant-based, you're going to reap all these benefits and you're not going to be on a diet anymore. When I actually tried the plant-based diet, that was the last diet I ever did, ever. I'm on this lifestyle. I'm able to maintain my weight. At 46, I'll be 47 this year. I feel like it helps, with the skin.
You're lying. You're no way.
Yes. 51?
51.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
46. I feel like it really helps because, obviously we're in an age where we have like menopause and that kind of stuff, like premenopause, and it really helps regulate your hormones. You won't have that, like if you're eating a lot of processed food like sugar and saturated fats, you're not going to feel your best. You're going to feel gassy. You're going to feel bloated. If I eat sugar late at night, like refined sugar, my heart races. And then I'm like, I can't sleep. And it keeps me up all night. And it's like, say if you eat dessert, highly refined, and you eat it, you could be wired for like 24 hours. So it really does raise your blood sugar. It's all about eating the right carbs, because a lot of women put carbs in the same category. All carbs are not equal. You got refined carbs like sugar, breads, candies, cookies, cakes. And then you have the other carbs that are whole grain carbs that are very nutritious, like oatmeal,
Quinoa, potatoes,
lentils. Like these are all like carbohydrates. And those carbohydrates also have fiber, which actually is really sustainable. So when you eat that, you have carbohydrates with fiber versus the refined carbs. There's no fiber. It's going to
very
little, right? Like say for instance, somebody can eat a bag of cookies. You can eat cookies. You're like, tastes so good. It feels like it's endless and you can still feel hungry after eating cookies. And then you're like, I'm hungry again. We don't ever see anybody eating a bag of apples. You might get full after a second apple, right? You maybe grab a second apple, but you're never like, I'm going to binge 3 or 4 apples or 5 apples. Nobody does that. Because why? Fiber. There's vitamins, minerals, nutrients that you're going to reap, and it has fiber. I used to be the one that was afraid to eat a banana. I was like, oh my God, banana has sugar, but banana is like really, it's attached to fiber. It has vitamins, minerals, nutrients, stuff like potassium, things that are beneficial for you. Nobody gets fat eating a banana. You just don't. People get fat overeating calories and then the wrong carbohydrates.
Yeah, not all carbohydrates, they're not all created equally. And one of the things that we like to talk about is we have to minimize the crap, cutting out the crap. And crap is calorie rich and processed foods. So it's those cookies, cakes, candies, pastries, pizza, hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries. You get the idea, right?
My favorite things.
Yeah, but we want to keep it simple. We really want to like take it back to basics and learn to eat food in its closest to natural state. Literally, we have to like uncomplicate and unprocess our diets. And that is what like gives us life energy and gives us vibrance.
You know, I think it's really important what you're both saying with that and describing the way to see food like that as well, because I think a lot of this is, you know, the way I see it, and I think for women out there as well that I know like around me is like it's about the mental part of it more than anything, right? Because the thing is, I think we still associate, no matter what we do in life, we associate so much of what is either important to us or what we're accustomed to or that is habitual, and it's habit. And when those habits and that circuitry in our mind is on this continuum of what we're doing, it's hard to break that. I mean, even whether it's food, whether it's things you enjoy, whether it's a way you organize yourself throughout the day, I think almost in a way, because when you said, Marzia, about diet, it's about rethinking diet almost, right? It's not the way we think about things and the way we approach it really makes all the difference. So if it's like, where I think the difficulty and the impediment can come in to make that transition is like, okay, I'm used to having this food like this and getting it maybe on demand, or I'm used to this instant gratification by snacking out on this thing. I'm used to, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we got to start in the mind, you know, we got to start, I think, with this, we got to, and what I really like about Plant Chics, right? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that more in detail, why you started, why it's important, you know, why you got into it. But what I like about how you both present food in general is that it looks so enticing. Like when you present the recipes you do and the types of food and meals you do, I'm like, well, maybe I should try that, you know, like instead of, again, getting away from those other types of foods that you mentioned, because I think in my mind, if my mind changes a little bit and gets, you know, more geared towards that, and for all the women out there, their overall health can greatly improve in so many ways. So can you both go into a little bit more about how, like for women, that mentality aspect is so important and to approach the way they see food and intake food? And also, secondly, go into why do you start Plant Chics? Why do you want to be doing this? Why do you want to help women out there?
So a couple things that you said, mindset is crucial. It's one of the biggest things that we talk about in Plant Chics and in our Plant Chics tribe with our community of women, because that's one of the things, like you said, most of the time people do know in general what they should be eating for their health. Like people generally know that cookies and cakes and pizza and hamburgers and hot dogs, they're not healthful foods. Like it's not going to increase my health and longevity. It's actually more disease causing, right? But it's those chemical reactions that are happening in their brain, and it's those habits that you talked about. They're so used to doing that. And we have to work so much on retraining the brain and retraining our taste buds. It can take about 8 times for us to start adjusting our taste buds to having, instead of French fries that are tons of fat, and because they're fried in oil, so there's a lot of saturated fat, there's all kinds of sodium on there because there's all that salt. So instead of having French fries, going to a baked potato. At first you're like, oh, well, this is kind of bland and boring. But now, like, I love me some potatoes, any of them, white, red, sweet, whatever. I like all my potatoes, and I like them with maybe a little bit of salt on there, but I also like them plain. And I like to add like beans and tomatoes and salsa and like all kinds of amazing things. But initially it took me a little bit of time to get there. And we have so many different tools that we use, and we have a whole thing talking about habit loops and how to recreate and retrain our brains for the habit loop, because our brain is malleable and it's constantly, we can change it at any age, starting from a very young age all the way to elderly. So it's really, really important that we do work on habits, breaking bad habits, creating new healthy habits, and learning to eat more foods that are healthful and life-giving.
I also think too, like when she talked about habits, I grew up with watching my mom be on a diet. I learned that habit watching my mom because she had 4 kids, and after each kid, she'd be like, I'm fat, I gotta lose weight, I'm on my diet food. So at a young age, I watched my mom struggle with weight and with these different fad diets. And of course, they would work great temporarily, and she would lose weight, and then it wasn't sustainable. So she would binge and eat and go back to the normal diet, like a normal standard American diet, where she's just having like whatever cereal, milk for breakfast and sandwich, like a ham and cheese sandwich for lunch or something. And then maybe make a dinner. And part of it did have a couple vegetables, but at the end of the day, she wasn't eating a healthful diet. She was actually restraining and restricting herself, and it wasn't good for her mindset. So as soon as I got out in the world, I was a skinny little kid and I was 18, but I was already worried in my teenage years as a woman, young girl, about my weight. What did I look like? Am I skinny? Am I fat? Am I this? And it really just transcended into my young adulthood. And I had very hard mentality with myself, because when I look back now, I'm in a different place. I was such a skinny kid, I had nothing to worry about, but I had all these insecurities. I wasn't confident. And it's kind of interesting how things take full circle for both of us. Obviously now we're health coaches and we believe in health. What initially I grew up with, like struggling, I didn't know what health was. I thought it was looking skinny. I thought it was being a skinny woman in this society, because society has that pressure, that I was like, I need to do what my mom does. I need to work out, and I need to eat restrictively and eat these certain foods, like gluten-free, like low carb was really big back in my mom's day. And take pills. Like she was taking,
Pills.
Yeah, different diet pills, whatever's on the market. Yeah, I did the same thing, like Xenadrine. The phentermine. My mom took phentermine when the doctors prescribed it. Fen, that's what it was. And just to lose weight, like she would literally went to the doctor prescribed it. And we are in this culture where women are supposed to be quote unquote skinny, and you're not supposed to eat a lot like your husband or your boyfriend or even a boy. So we're trying to break through these diet cultures and bad habits that diet culture society has put into women at a very young age.
One big thing that we're also about is learning to love ourselves while we work on ourselves. Like love ourselves right here. Fly. First, love yourself. Because people always say, or women specifically, they're like, oh, if I could only lose 20 pounds, if I only weighed 100 and whatever pounds I think I should weigh, then I would be happy, I would be fit, I would be perfect, like life would be perfect. But what if I snapped my fingers and all of a sudden you're at that weight? Are you happy? No, because you're still thinking all the same way that you were thinking. So we have to start working on behaviors that are self-fulfilling. They make us feel good. And a huge part of that are the foods that we're putting into our mouth, the thoughts that we have, the way we talk to ourselves. We talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody throughout the day, throughout our life. And also the people we surround ourselves with. That's one of the reasons Marzia and I created the Plant Chics Tribe. Our husbands aren't 100% plant-based, and we are. So we needed each other to help lift each other up when our husbands were doing whatever they were doing. And then we're like, you know what? This is very, very common, because there's a lot of women who they're the ones that are in charge of grocery shopping, bringing the food into the home, but then not everyone in the home eats that same way. So they need some accountability with themselves so they can stay on track. So that's why we created our Plant Chics Tribe, so we could lift one another up when it's not always easy at home. So we have a lot of fun in our Plant Chics Tribe.
I really find it deeply important what you're saying and giving credence to with this idea about the influence of people around you. And as you kind of went to as well, Marzia, that it's so important to realize who influences around us and what we do, right? I mean, when it comes to food especially, but many things in life, but food in particular, when we grow up, I mean, we know that those, I think some people know that those first 7 years we're downloading, we're becoming like programs for what a lot of habits will carry on for the rest of our lives. And, as we get older, sometimes we got to deconstruct those identities, those falsehoods, leave the things that are good, obviously, but particularly for food, and as you're speaking about with women, that can be an extremely, extremely important thing that, as women get older, have to take into account because of bodily changes, as they get older, many things, hormone related things. Because if you're not doing that, that can be, I can imagine, I'm just thinking about people around me, like how detrimental that can be for your overall health as you get older, not, getting back onto or getting onto any track that can be better for your health, right? So I think the circle of influence is a big, big deal. And, I think that's so important to point out. So I think for all you women out there, please comment below. Are you one of those women that, has changed your habits over time? Are you on a type of plant-based diet? What sort of aspects of your diet do you really want to change right now? Please comment below and let us know. We'd be really curious to answer and follow up with you if we can. So I'm really curious as well about what you're speaking and maybe related to a little bit when it comes to anti-aging, right? I mean, I think that's it can be a bit of a loaded idea, but in general, because I'm thinking about, and this is not related to a woman, obviously, but the wife of my wife, her grandfather lived to 100 years old, 100. And guess what? He ate fruit all the time. He had more of this plant-based diet, good for him, so that's incredible to live up until 100 eating fruit every day. So I'm curious, like anti-aging, not only is it, I think, about because the complexion, as you were both relevant, is, a lot of, we're influenced by what people say, what people do. We emulate people, I'm speaking from a male perspective, but I think some women, do take into a lot of consideration this idea of, having, the face, have this infinite youthness to it, right? I'm gonna get shellacked by all the women out there, so I'm trying my best. But anyways, so getting more to the point, how does a plant-based diet really generally help internally, like with keeping the inside healthy, but also the outwardly complexion, looking youthful, feeling revitalized, everything related to that?
It mainly is all tied to the health of our gut microbiome. So our gut microbiome, we're either feeding our health gut microbiota that's like life promoting, increases our health span, or we're feeding it foods that are causing disease. So the only way to feed the healthy gut microbes is through fiber. And a lot of people think that they get fiber from meat or chicken or something like that, or maybe even milk. But really the only place that we can get fiber is from plants. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, whole grains, legumes, things like that. So the only place where you can get fiber, and it's the fiber that are like the fiber that's not, if you have a cookie, you're going to have some grain in there, but it's going to be refined. So the majority of that fiber is going to be removed. And that's why it's important that we eat the whole grain versus a refined grain, because the whole grain is going to be feeding the health gut microbiota. So this is also where, like, okay, so do I have to eat 100% whole food plant-based, no processed foods, no crap? Can I have dairy? Can I have meat? Can I have any of these? We like to say 80 to 90% whole foods and 10 to 20% soul foods. And you decide what those soul foods are going to be. Is it going to be some cookies? Is it going to be maybe a little bit of cheese? What is it going to be? You decide what it's going to be. But the majority of the food that you should be eating, it should be diversity of plants. So maybe for breakfast, like this morning for breakfast, Marzia and I made a ginormous smoothie. We get these protein greens, which is a variety, like probably 5 or 6 different greens. Throw in a banana, maybe some berries, some ground flax seeds, some ground chia seed, and then throw in some water, blend that up. And that was like maybe 8 or 9 different plants that we're eating.
Really quickly, Jacque, I don't want to, sorry to interrupt you there, but it's really important because I've heard some people say, if you put those, any foods or vegetables, fruits into a smoothie, it actually takes away from the actual nutrients of those foods. It kind of, so I want to maybe dispel that falsehood, if it is a falsehood, hopefully.
Yeah, no, and that's a great question. I'm really glad that you stopped us there. Yeah. So what happens when we start to digest our food, it actually starts in our mouth by masticating, by chewing it up. So when we have a smoothie and it blends it up, it's basically like chopping it up nice and finely. So it actually it helps with the digestion and the absorption of all that hyper-nourishment that you're getting from that smoothie. Now, the one thing that we don't recommend doing on a regular basis is juicing, because when you juice all these different fruits and vegetables, you're getting a lot of the phytonutrients and you're getting a lot of good stuff, but what you're not getting is the fiber. And remember, fiber is fire, fiber is life. Fiber is what feeds the good gut microbiome, and that's what we want. So juicing, you're removing most, if not all of the fiber. So it's not going to be nourishing the gut microbiome, the healthy gut microbes that we need to replenish and re-nourish as much as a smoothie. So you want to opt for more smoothies and have juice for fun, right?
For fun. Yeah, for a snack. And also too, like eating this hyper nourishing food, it reduces inflammation, because inflammation is the silent killer. So somebody who eats a lot of sweets and candies, as soon as you eat that, digestion begins in the mouth and it alerts your cells in your body like, oh no, this person's eating a cookie. And then it has to come and battle the inflammation in your body. One cookie just sets off the high glycemic and it warns your entire body for 24 hours. So if you're eating chronically all these different breads and sugars and candies and sodas, your body is going to be in this chronic state of inflammation, just trying to battle. That's how people are getting type 2 diabetes. Their insulin, they're done. They're like, we're done. We've tapped out. And it's reversible, which type 2 diabetes is reversible, but they think it's a death sentence. And my mom had it, my grandfather had it. This is reversible. It's what they're eating. What did Dr. Greger say? The diets don't run a family. He has a saying, I'm not butchering it, but basically he's saying
diseases don't run in families,
diets run in families. Yes. And so I picked up the diet that I learned from my mom. She picked it up from her mom. And a lot of these aren't very healthful. They had different genes back in the day. So my mom has a certain way she eats. She passed on these genes. I have a certain way I eat. I pass on those genes. And they're always kind of getting worse and worse and worse if we don't correct it.
Right. So Marzia and I both, she grew up with a mom who was constantly dieting. They ate a lot of crap, and you guys had some good food actually. But I too, my mother was morbidly obese, and we had a lot of crap too. We ate out all the time, like pizzas and hamburgers and French fries and all that stuff. So Marzia and I, we are like stopping everything in the track. So our genetics load the gun, but our lifestyle pulls the trigger. So Marzia and I, I've got so much heart disease in my family. My father literally just had a quadruple bypass. So his heart, all his arteries were clogged, quadruple bypass. This is the reason why I am plant-based. I've got so much heart disease in my family that they get it because of the way they live, the foods that they're eating, all that crap that they're eating. They don't exercise a lot. They're staying up, they're not sleeping, there's alcoholism, there's all these different things. Me, I'm in recovery. I'm sober. I just celebrated 9 years sober this weekend. Thank you so much. And I have completely changed the way I eat compared to the way my family eats. A lot of my family is obese. I'm at a normal weight, but it's because of the lifestyle I lead. I exercise, I sleep, I have amazing friends, and we support each other. And that's the same with you, Marzia.
Yeah.
You've completely changed your family.
And people think it's crazy, like, oh, Marzia and Jacque are crazy, but obsessed. No, this is normal, healthy. What they're doing is crazy. Sitting on the couch, it's crazy. Eating junk food 24/7. You have to see the flip side of it. It's kind of crazy that the people who are sitting there eating bad foods and judging, actually it's a whole mindset changeover. It's
Well-
like, no, you're the crazy ones. We're the normal ones. No.
Well, no, but it's I don't mean to interrupt you there, Marzia, but it's really important what you're saying, because you both have good energy. Like, you, not only do you have energy, but you have good energy.
Oh.
See it, I can feel it through the Zoom that you both have positive energy. You both have uplifting energy. You both have a good life force energy, you know? So I think when you're doing what you're doing, when it comes to health and mindset and everything else and what you intake, it will naturally sort of spill off in that way of just having this abundantly great energy. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to dispel ages here, but, you know, you both have great, from what I see, complexion and youthfulness to you, right? So it is working. It seems to me, right? You know, you are practicing what you preach, and it's, you know, that's great. So, you know, right?
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it has to be fun, right? I think what all you're saying is, like, if you can make it in a way that's engaging and like enlightening for your own way of doing things. Again, it's about, like, we're going back to the same theme about habits and about actions and about what you are consciously doing with yourself. That makes all, I mean, you know, I'm jokingly half-heartedly saying this, but, you know, this episode is focused for women, but I know my wife will watch this later and she'll bang me over the head. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, it's deeply important that we recognize this, and especially when it goes to the theme that you mentioned, Marzia, with inflammation. I think people out there, women out there, need to be more conscious of what having problems with inflammation can do to the rest of your body to bring on other diseases. It's not spoken about enough. I know enough about it, you know, from, you know, previous research and other conversations, and I'm privy to having, you know, known what that can do to you. But let's go, if we can go a little bit more into that, if it's okay, because I want to knock that issue a little bit more home about how, if we're not taking care of our inside, what inflammation can do for women that can be really detrimental. Can we speak a little bit more into that, if that's right?
And it's important that people realize, if I eat a cookie right now, I'm not going to get diabetes immediately. If I eat pizza tonight, like we're going to have pizza tonight for dinner, am I going to have a heart attack tonight? No, it doesn't happen that fast. It literally can take decades. For some people, it's a little bit shorter. Maybe it's a decade, maybe it's 5 years. But for most people, it's decades.
40, 50, 60 years.
Yes, literally. So I actually had a melanoma in situ removed. And melanoma, skin cancer, scary, scary, scary. But I had that removed right around the time I was 49 or 50. As a child, I was constantly playing outside, loved being outside. I remember my mother would always yell, "Jackie, time to come inside." And I would cry because I'd have to stop playing and I'd have to eat. And I just wanted to play. But I was literally outside all the time, didn't wear sunscreen. 40, 50 years later is when that cancer showed up. So it takes decades for this to happen. So it's really, really important that it's not going to be like instant gratification. However, if you do start changing your diet, you have that hyper nourishing smoothie for breakfast, or if you start inviting more plants to your plate, starting maybe with one meal, you will start noticing a difference right away. I've got an example. My brother-in-law was in town. He was visiting my husband and I. He is a huge meat eater. And my husband ended up taking him to a vegan restaurant. They watched What the Health. And they're like, maybe we should give this a shot. So they went to eat a vegan lunch. And my brother-in-law called me like an hour after lunch. He's like, "Jackie." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Usually after I eat, so he'll have a burger or a steak or something for lunch. He has to come home and take a nap. He's like, I've got so much energy. This is insane. There really is something to it." So if you do start eating more plants, you will notice it very, very quickly. So it's really important that you will start noticing that you have more energy. And that's one of the things that we encourage our tribe and the people that we coach, and we coach men and women, predominantly women, but those are the things that we encourage you guys to look at. Like, how do you feel after you're eating? And maybe you do go out and have pizza, but how do you feel after? Do you have a stomach ache? Are you tired? Do you need a nap? Well, how do you feel after that smoothie? I don't even need my coffee.
But it's good that, I think it's, in a way, for me, as speaking as a male here, like, I think it's important that not only that are you helping women, because a lot of women are seeking out these kind of health, revolutionary things that can change their life completely. But I mean, women have such impact on men, right? They have it depends on your relationship, but I think in general, if the women lead the charge on these issues, it'll change really the world. All right. I believe just because, I'm married, I know my wife has a tremendous impact on me. I'm really stubborn in certain things, but I think over time, I think it's hard. I think it's harder in general for men to get into this, just because, I love them. I love my steak. I love the meat. I love the cheeseburger, all that, that's who I am, it's just, my wife is.
It takes like a health scare for somebody to wake up for something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's not, it depends on the individual, but it's usually some health scare. Them like, whoa, I have that cancer or high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Heart attack, yeah, or someone has to be put on meds for the rest of their, quote unquote, for the rest of their life. Which happened to my sister-in-law. She had pre-diabetes, and all of a sudden they're like, we're gonna have to put you on some medication. If you don't, cure this in 6 months, you're on this window of being type 2 diabetic, and it freaked her out. So she was like, oh, like, I don't be on meds. Like, that was her aha moment. And she actually lost 20 to 30 pounds because she was like 50 or 60 pounds overweight. But that was enough to make her high blood pressure and her cholesterol to go down. And when I first went plant-based, my husband thought it was crazy, but I went plant-based due to a health scare too. I thought it was crazy. I came from the fitness. I was a fitness model and a fitness competitor, did all this bikini modeling, that I grew up like meat equals muscle. So I had to build, eat meat for build muscle. And so I was stuck in this bodybuilder, we call it bro science mentality. It was mentality. And I heard from all these guys, you need to eat more meat. So I had like ate 5 or 6 times a day, from egg whites to tuna, it was like really big, eating different types of fish and chicken to build to build muscle because of this meat diet. But in the end, that high protein diet put me in the hospital 3 different times. I had to get my kidney stones lasered because I was doing super high protein, low carb, kind of moderate fat. I had a 6-pack and nice glutes and won all these fitness competitions and been on magazine covers. And at the end of the day, I wasn't healthy. I looked fit, but I wasn't healthy. So just know that there's someone out there with a 6-pack, ripped and shredded. It's a visual, like, you think, oh wow, they look fit. They weren't. I was a personal trainer at the time, telling my clients to eat my diet and knowing what it did to me. And I was not giving them the right nutrition information. And when I was sitting at the registered dietitian's office, after the 3rd time getting my kidney stones lasered, she said, Marzia, you're going to ruin your kidneys. You're going to get kidney cancer. Something's going to happen. Like, this is really hard on your kidneys. Like, what are you doing? So I was like, oh, I'm a bodybuilder. So I eat 1 times my body weight. So I was 145 pounds. I made sure I get 145 grams of protein, dispersed throughout the day, of animal protein. And it wasn't doing me any favors. It wasn't making me healthy. It was harming me. And I didn't want to see it till I was in the doctor's office after my 3rd time, not the first. You think I would learn, because sometimes it takes somebody like 1 time, and they, like my sister-in-law, she heard she was on meds and she was like, oh, I'm not going to take it. Not me. I'm like, I'm going to go back to eating my meat. And it took me a 2nd time, then a 3rd. And then finally I sat there. And when she told me that I could get kidney cancer, that kind of scared me. Then that was my 3rd time later. So sometimes it takes us more than once or twice to hear, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And then one day you're going to have your own personal aha moment that resonates you. And when she gave me this paper, I looked at it, and I had never even heard the term vegan. I knew what a vegetarian was, but I saw on the paper said, low protein vegan diet. And I looked at it, I go, vegan? And she goes, vegan. And I go, what? And I had no idea. She goes, I want you to abstain from all animal products, and I want you to eat, low protein, but lots of fruits and vegetables. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I've never heard of a low protein in my life. I mean, I watched my mom be on low carb, high protein. And next thing you know, here I am doing the same thing my mom did. But my mom never got into the phase where it was really detrimental on her health. She was on a yo-yo diet, and still she's like overweight because now she's done with the diets and she's just going to eat a normal standard American diet, right? Like she gave up, but I didn't want to give up. I was like, no, I'm not giving up. Like I want to be, educated on my own personal health, my own advocate, because you are your own advocate for your own personal health. And you're the only you. No one's going to save you. No one's going to feed you. Only you are responsible for your health. And that was my aha moment. Like I have to get educated. I didn't know this high protein can do this. Why is this happening to me? And that set me on my journey. This was 11 years ago, on eating more healthful foods. Because when I was a fitness competitor, I wasn't eating processed food at all. I was out of processed food. I was eating partially like some fruits and vegetables, not a lot, but mainly a lot of animal protein and avocados, like steak or eggs or chicken, avocado, and then maybe 5 or 6 asparagus spears or a little bit of broccoli. I wasn't eating enough fruits and vegetables. I wasn't eating the 5 to 9. I was scared of bananas. I thought fruit was going to make me fat. I didn't realize like it was actually providing nutrients and healing my body, and like berries help free radicals on the cells. It's great for anti-aging. So I started finding out what food really did, like per fruit and vegetable, and how it heals the body and what vitamins, nutrients, and just different minerals it had in it versus what I was actually doing to my body. And I wasn't eating enough raw, fresh foods. I was eating a lot of cooked foods, and I would go microwave it. So I started diving deep into my diet. As soon as I saw what I was eating, I was like, oh my gosh. And here's again, I had the diet mentality. When she gave me this diet, I thought, another diet, let me try it. And I never thought in a million years I would stick to it. I thought it was going to be something for 30, 60, or 90 days. And here I am 11 years later, and I'm off the diet.
Unbelievable. And going back to what we spoke about earlier, I think this is deeply important. And I want all the women out there who are listening to this and watching this too. And if you've been watching our videos over the last months, you know how important it is starting with self-love. Do the best you can each and every day, wherever you are in your life, to really embrace and love and find yourself, because everything starts there, right? Everything we're talking about right now, for all the women out there, you have to embrace the uniqueness, the beautiful, everything that you are starting today, to make all this line up and happen for you in the manner you want it for the rest of your life. And we talk about that a lot in SpirLift, because the thing is, all the life we really want in the end, the most beautiful life that we can hope to imagine, it's not going to just be from your marriage, your family, your friends, the people you meet in your life. It's about your self journey, right? It's about your self-discovery into getting into what it means to be you, right? And all this, embracing all this, will change your life. This kind of way of eating, these kind of habits, I mean, it will complement it, right? I mean, if we are really, really, truly embracing how beautiful we are, we're all beautiful, right? We are all individually beautifully, a creature of our own making, right? So, and the more we understand that, we're going to want to embrace these kind of ways of eating these foods much, much more, right? They go hand in hand, right? Because the thing is, again, it's like no one person is going to say you are like this, you are like this, because that becomes like these horrible attachments to you that you can just never knock off, right? You're going to want to embrace those things that are going to give you the energy that Jacque and Marzia both have. Look at them. They're so I just feel good talking to them, So it's just good energy rubs off, right? Good energy is contagious. Positivity is contagious, but it takes the work of oneself to be able to do that, right? It's you have to have the discipline, right? And I'm curious to ask you both, for women out there, because some people are listening right now, they're probably not in the best position in their life right now. They're going through a difficult time. We're filming this particular episode in 2021. We've come out a year that's been absolutely heavy and just difficult because of worldly events, and there are a lot of issues, especially women these times are, if they're especially working at home and maybe having to take care of the kids, and they feel overwhelmed with so many responsibilities. These women don't have time for themselves. Women need time for themselves. Believe me, I'm married to an extraordinary woman. She needs time for herself, So instead, because again, food can be fun. Food can be fun, right? The right food can be fun. How, if women out there are dealing and battling certain depressive or anxious related themes in their life right now, instead of going to the ice cream tonight or to the really fatty chips or whatever it may be, what are some types of foods that you can say to them right now? Hey, try this right now tonight. If you're feeling like this, it'll change you. It'll change the way you feel. What type of foods?
You like Snickers? Like a Snickers bar?
I mean, I do, yeah.
So there's one of our favorites, so flipping good. Dates. If you have dates, peanut butter. If you guys live near a Whole Foods, you can get like the 365 organic peanut butter. It's only peanuts and a little bit of salt. And then maybe you can get some vegan chocolate chips if you want. But put a scoop of the peanut butter in with the dates. And if you want to have the chocolate chips, you can. You don't even need them. But you eat that, it's delicious. But here's another thing you can do. Put that in the freezer for like 10, 20 minutes and then eat it after it's frozen. That is smacking good.
Game changer.
So flipping good. So that's like a really delicious sweet treat. But it all kind of circles back to exactly what you were just talking about. First, loving yourself. And I know at SpirLift, you guys are a lot about spirituality. You guys talk a lot about different things. And like, if once you really truly learn to love yourself and you treat your body as a temple, you will start wanting to feed your body foods that are nourishing and healing to yourself. And the foods that are nourishing and healing are the plant foods, the fruits, the vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, grains, legumes. And they are delicious. The foods that are causing inflammation, that are causing dis-ease, those are not doing anything. It's not feeding your temple. And we do need to treat our bodies as we would a loved one. Like, I'm not gonna, if Marzia is sick and I have to come over and take care of you, I'm not gonna feed you hamburgers and hot dogs, even if they're vegan, because it's not gonna help you heal.
No.
So we really do need to treat ourselves as we would our loved ones. And we need to first be kind to ourselves. And if we mess up, like, oh my God, I ate a regular Snickers, enjoy it. Because next time I'm gonna have that date with the peanut butter and maybe a couple little vegan chocolate chips. But what are some of your favorite crunchy, like savory snacks?
I don't know. Well, I have a lot. I have a lot. But I actually like just carrots and celeries with fun little dips. Like, you can dip it in hummus, you can dip it in, we just had a cashew,
So good.
yes, sour cream and chive dip, and you take some vegetables and dip it with some bell peppers. Those are fun crunch. And you get used to, once you start liking healthier foods or foods that bring health to you, you feel better. It's also too, I would say, hang around people that feel like sunshine. Okay. So when people feel like sunshine and you have this community, people are plugged in, they're a healthful community, not body bashing. Like, sometimes, here's an example. Oh, we're going to go drinking tonight. Everyone's drinking, eating bad food. That sounds fun in theory, and it can be, but it could be also disease related. If you're doing it too much, too often, you're just not going to feel good. You could be like Jacque was an alcoholic. You can be an alcoholic, or you could be addicted to food. Addiction comes in different forms. So you could be addicted to 4 or 5 different things. You could be addicted to drinking, your cell phone, like the digital stuff. And then it's these dopamine hits, right? It's like, instant, gratification. It feels good, but you have to unwire your stuff and hang around people that feel like sunshine, like a community that's going to lift you up, like teach you how to be happier. It's all about being happier. So Jacque and I have a community called Plant Chics Tribe. It's on Facebook. So if you're a lady, please feel free to join it. And not only do we teach, workouts and mindset and how to eat, we teach happiness, like teaching people how to be happy, because at the end of the day, if you are going through life not present and not happy, not even like liking what you eat, say you're eating a healthy meal and you're like, you're like all angry eating it, like I have to eat this. You already set that mentality. You're on this diet, you hate what you're doing, you're not going to enjoy your meal, and then you're just going to eat it, and then you're probably going to binge later. But we're in a different place where we're like, oh, we enjoy this makes us feel good. It's just like it gives you life, and you could break bread, so to speak, like with a smoothie or whatever, a salad, and you feel good about it. And when you hang out with those people, it's so crazy. Like I've been with Jacque for 4 years, and she's taught me a lot about like sobriety and not drinking. Like I would be the healthful person I'll be healthy Monday through Friday. And then Friday night, I'm going to drink and eat bad foods with my friends, and then go back to Monday eating healthy and working out again. But we've been on so many adventures together, eating healthy, not even drinking, nothing. And you actually enjoy the experience way better. So I'm not hungover the next day or food hungover. The food makes you feel bloated and gassy. And so I've learned a lot from her, going into experiences, from traveling we travel a lot too. Before COVID, we traveled a lot, did lots of talks, and I didn't have to go back to like a hotel room and drink and, that kind of stuff, and then pass out eating a big, heavy meal. We did it all healthy. And then we teach people, we have a thing called Healthy Hour where we teach people to be healthy. And instead of happy hour, it's healthy hour. And that way it changes your mentality. And once people get into that, then they kind of have this aha moment, like, oh, I can go into a dinner or a party or something, whatever event it is, like a birthday, holiday, wedding, without drinking, without eating bad foods, and still be very conscious and be happy about it. Because a lot of times people equate, oh, you have to give up everything. You don't have to give up everything. You can pick and choose what you give up, but you can't be everything all the time, because there's always gonna be a birthday. There's always gonna be a holiday, a special occasion, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, right? People will make excuses to drink and eat and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, that leads to a day leads to a week leads to a year, years lead to decades. The next thing you know, you have heart disease or some kind of chronic illness or disease. And you're like, how did it happen? And you want to blame your genes, and it's not your genes, it's your lifestyle.
So important, because it's really focusing on what you can do the best with what you're wanting to do to make that, again, going back to what you were saying, 80-20, as long as this becomes really for women the main driving force in your life, with the way you eat and consciously doing it, and then you have those occasions of this or that, okay, fine. But as long as like the main way in which you do it is focused on that, that's excellent. That could sincerely change so many women's life, whether it has to do with preventing certain types of diseases, the inflammation issue, especially we haven't gone too much into this for this episode, but related to hormones, maybe in another occasion we can do that, because I think for women especially, understanding how that relates to particular women's hormones is a really big deal, right, with foods. And just having this overall sense of creating the lifestyle, having that amazing energy that these two amazing women have. All the women out there can achieve that, right? And it's going to rub off on men like me who are way too stubborn and need a lot more work done to them. So unfortunately, we don't have that much more time on this episode, but I want to ask you both one last thing. For women out there that really want it, because sometimes there's a lot of women out there that really want to start right now and change their life around. So I want to start right now and make a positive difference in their life. And they're like, I've had it. I want to be the woman that I truly feel like I can be inside. They want that. They want to come out, right? Like they want to come out with that powerful youthfulness and energy and just feel amazing today. Can you talk a little bit more in detail about the 30-day challenge that you have and what that encompasses, just to give our viewers and listeners an idea?
Yeah, so we have a 30-day challenge. We also have a 4-week Let's Get Lit program. And both of these, first of all of our programs are all inclusive. They all have plant-based nutrition, tons of delicious recipes, because what you were talking about earlier, like if food isn't pretty, if it doesn't taste good, we're not eating it. We're foodies. We like to eat, but we like good food. So all the foods we have, it's all like whole food plant-based. We do have some soul food recipes in there for you as well, but we also have workouts. So in our 30-day challenge, we have HIIT and yoga and a ton of recipes. We also have goal call. So every Monday in our Plant Chics tribe. So ladies, wherever you are, we do invite you to join our Plant Chics tribe on Facebook. It's for women only, but we always do goal call Monday. So you write out your goals, you write them out in the comments on the live. And this is just a really incredible opportunity for you to claim your goals. So when you write them down, you look at them every day, you're more likely to achieve them, and especially when you share them with the rest of the tribe. So you're being held accountable. And then for women who are maybe, they're like, I really want to do this. I'm ready to try to eat more plants. So the 30-day challenge or our Let's Get Lit program are good. But for those ladies, for the ladies that are listening, you're not working out right now, or you're not working out a lot. Maybe you've got some joint issues. Maybe you're in your 50s like I am, and I don't like bouncing and doing a lot of these HIIT workouts anymore. We have our Let's Get Lit, which is low impact interval training. And in our Let's Get Lit program, we have 30 different workouts, from yoga, strength training, Pilates. Her Pilates are crazy intense, but amazing. Full body workouts, cardiovascular workouts, over 100 plant-based nutrition recipes with whole foods and soul foods. And then we also have mindset workbooks talking about the habit cycle that we were talking about earlier. So we cover everything. So depending on where you are, ladies, if you like some really intense workouts, maybe the 30-day challenge would be a better option for you, and you can get everything on our website, plantchics.com. But if you're brand new to working out, or just wanting to get back into working out, or maybe recovering from an injury, I would recommend our Let's Get Lit 4-week program. And one of the nice things with our programs, when you get it one time, you can do it as many times as you want. We encourage you to keep coming back and keep doing it.
Unbelievable. So much amazing information and amazing programs. And I think is going to help a lot of women out there is that sense of accountability as well. Like, you're joining other group of women who really are there for each other, helping each other, encouraging each other, and can, get on this journey together. That's what, again, going back to what we said earlier, that makes a difference. Who is around you, how they're impacting you for the good or the bad, right? And being aware of that. And if you have the type of community you have, I mean, how can you go wrong, right?
And we're there with them. We're there with you. We're doing the workouts with you the whole time. We're there for the goal call every Monday. We show up. We love our tribe, and we wouldn't be where we are today without you guys.
That's incredible. So for all the women out there, please seek out all of their information, their programs, the website. We're going to include all of the information in all of the platforms, the comments and descriptions. So you'll, any woman out there who's looking to start this today and join this incredible community and these programs, we're going to include all the information so you can change your life around right now, right this moment. So I want to thank you both so much for being on this episode of SpirLift. It was an absolute honor. Plant Chics, amazing program and amazing projects, and I congratulate you both and thank you so much for the positive and impactful ways in which you're really helping women. It's incredible.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone.